Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I am so grateful you've joined me today, and I can't wait to dive into something that has the power to change your life. It's a peculiar thing to observe the act of trying to destroy someone. It isn't merely an attack on the surface of who you are, it's an assault on your essence, your character, your very existence. And yet, here's the truth: such actions rarely, if ever, achieve the intended outcome. If anything, they ignite something profound, something that perhaps even you didn't know you possessed. When they tried to destroy you, they didn't account for the complexity of resilience. They didn't understand that the human spirit, when cornered and tested, doesn't simply break. It transforms, it recalibrates. It fortifies itself against the storm, becoming a more formidable structure than it ever was before. The struggle, however brutal, becomes the crucible in which strength is forged. But make no mistake, the price of their actions wasn't just yours to bear. Oh no, it comes for them as well. You see, there's a psychological and moral reckoning that accompanies deceit and malevolence. To tear someone down, they have to sacrifice their own integrity, their own humanity. Piece by piece, they sow seeds of chaos, only to find that the harvest is bitter and inescapable. Here's the irony: attempts to silence often amplify. Attempts to diminish often elevate. The very act of trying to destroy someone reveals the fragility of the aggressor, and it illuminates the strength of the one who endures. It's like trying to extinguish a flame with a gust of wind, only to find that the fire grows larger, consuming the air meant to snuff it out. And what happens when you stand in truth unshaken? What happens when you remain steadfast, refusing to yield to their attempts? The world notices. Not right away, perhaps. The world often lags in its acknowledgement of justice. But eventually, the scales tip. Their actions don't just haunt them, they define them. They pay the price not just in their reputations, but in the slow erosion of their souls. This isn't a story of revenge, it's a story of balance, of the natural order of things. The universe, or perhaps the collective moral consciousness, seems to have a way of ensuring that destruction doesn't go unanswered. It's a subtle, almost poetic justice. So, if you faced this destruction and stood your ground, remember this: you are not merely surviving, you are becoming. And they are unraveling. The price they pay isn't just for what they've done to you, but for what they've done to themselves. Their attempt to destroy you was their failure, and your rise is the evidence of that truth. Malevolence is a reality that many prefer to ignore, perhaps because acknowledging it is deeply unsettling. To admit that others can act with deliberate intent to harm, out of envy, hatred, or fear, is to confront an uncomfortable truth about the human condition. But ignoring it doesn't make it less real. It simply leaves us unprepared to face it when it inevitably surfaces. Malevolence isn't always grand or dramatic. Sometimes it's insidious, manifesting in whispers, subtle sabotages, or quiet betrayals. It often emerges from deep-seated insecurities or unspoken fears. Those who seek to destroy others are frequently grappling with their own inadequacies. They project their inner chaos outward, attempting to pull others into the same pit they find themselves trapped in. And yet, malevolence is more than just a product of individual psychology. It can take root in systems, in ideologies, in cultures. Groups can be swept up in destructive fervor, often convincing themselves that their actions are justified, even virtuous. This is why vigilance is crucial, not just in recognizing malevolence in others, but in guarding against it within ourselves. When faced with such intent, the instinct may be to retreat, to pretend it isn't happening. But malevolence thrives in silence. It feeds on passivity, growing stronger when it is left unchecked. To face it requires courage, and that courage often begins with a clear-eyed acknowledgement of its presence. Recognizing malevolence doesn't mean surrendering to cynicism. It means equipping yourself with the tools to confront and overcome it. Acknowledging the reality of malevolence isn't an endorsement of despair. Instead, it is a call to strengthen the virtues that stand against it: honesty, courage, and resilience. For in recognizing the darker tendencies of humanity, We also illuminate the profound capacity to rise above them. Struggle is far more intricate than it appears on the surface. It's not just a moment of hardship or a fleeting challenge, it's a multifaceted experience that touches every layer of your existence. Struggle is emotional, physical, intellectual, and even spiritual. It forces you to confront yourself in ways you never anticipated, revealing both your vulnerabilities and your potential for growth. What makes struggle so complex is its dual nature. On one hand, it feels like an assault, a force that disrupts your comfort, dismantles your plans, and shakes your confidence. But on the other hand, it is also a profound teacher, a catalyst for transformation that reshapes you into someone stronger and more capable. This paradox is difficult to grasp in the midst of adversity. It often feels overwhelming, unfair, even cruel, but looking back, you realize that those moments of greatest challenge also held the seeds of your deepest growth. Struggle doesn't operate in isolation. It ripples outward, affecting your relationships, your aspirations, and your sense of purpose. It demands that you balance survival with adaptation, that you find meaning even in moments of despair. It's not simply about enduring hardship, it's about navigating the intricacies of change, adapting to a new reality while holding on to the core of who you are. Another layer of its complexity is how it interacts with time. In the moment, struggle feels eternal, as though the weight of it will never lift. But time changes your perspective. The very same struggle that seemed unbearable can later appear as a pivotal turning point, a defining chapter in your story. This shift in understanding doesn't diminish the pain you felt, it honors it, reframing it as part of a larger narrative of resilience and growth. Struggle also reveals truths about the world and the people around you. It strips away illusions, showing you who is truly supportive and who falls away when the road gets rough. It challenges your beliefs, forcing you to reevaluate what you hold dear and what you're willing to fight for. This process is not easy, nor is it comfortable. It's a crucible, one that tests your character and shapes it in ways you might not have chosen, but ultimately cannot ignore. The complexity of struggle lies in its ability to demand everything from you while simultaneously giving you something invaluable in return. It's not a simple transaction, nor is it a straightforward journey. It's a labyrinth, unpredictable, sometimes dark and deeply transformative. And while no one willingly chooses struggle, those who embrace its lessons find themselves emerging from it with a depth of understanding and a strength of character that they never knew they possessed. Truth and integrity are foundational to navigating life's challenges, especially in the face of adversity or opposition. They serve as a compass, guiding you through confusion, deception, and moral ambiguity. Truth is not merely about factual accuracy, it is about aligning yourself with what is real, what is genuine, and what stands the test of scrutiny. Integrity, in turn, is the unwavering commitment to uphold that truth, even when it is inconvenient, unpopular, or difficult. In a world rife with deception, standing for truth is a revolutionary act. Lies may offer temporary comfort or advantage, but they come at a profound cost, fracturing relationships, eroding trust, and corroding the very fabric of one's character. To speak and act truthfully is to build something enduring, something unshakable, even in the midst of chaos. Truth anchors you, providing clarity when circumstances are murky and strength when you are under attack. Integrity is the active embodiment of truth. It is not enough to know what is right. Integrity demands that you act on it. This can be a lonely path, as it often means standing apart from the crowd, resisting the pressure to conform, or rejecting easy shortcuts in favor of what is principled. But this steadfastness has its own rewards. People with integrity are unyielding. They cannot be easily manipulated or swayed because their foundation is rooted in something far deeper than external validation. The role of truth and integrity becomes especially vital when you are targeted by those who seek to undermine you. Lies are often the tools of destruction, wielded to sow doubt, discredit, or destabilize. Yet when you remain grounded in truth, those lies eventually collapse under their own weight. They lack the substance to endure. The truth, even if obscured for a time, has a way of surfacing, often with a force that exposes the frailty of deceit. Integrity also fosters trust, both in yourself and in others. When you act in alignment with your principles, you reinforce your own sense of self-worth and clarity of purpose. Others, too, come to recognize that you are a person of substance, someone who can be relied upon, even in difficult times. This trust becomes a form of protection, a network of allies who value and support your authenticity. But truth and integrity are not easy paths to follow. They demand sacrifice. They require you to confront uncomfortable realities, both about the world and about yourself. They challenge you to admit when you are wrong, to face your fears, and to resist the temptation to take the easy way out. Yet this struggle is what makes them powerful. By committing to truth and integrity, you become resilient not because you are free from hardship, but because you are fortified by principles that cannot be easily shaken. In the end, truth and integrity are not merely abstract virtues, they are practical tools for living a meaningful life. They provide stability in a world that often feels chaotic, and they create a legacy that endures long after temporary victories or setbacks have faded. They remind you and others that what matters most is not just what you achieve, but how you achieve it, and that standing for what is right is its own kind of triumph. The phenomenon of unintended amplification is one of life's most striking paradoxes. When someone attempts to suppress, silence, or diminish another person, their actions often produce the opposite effect. The effort to erase someone's voice or presence rather than eliminating them frequently magnifies their influence, drawing more attention and sympathy to their cause. This dynamic arises because acts of suppression create tension, curiosity, and a sense of injustice that resonate far beyond the immediate conflict. At its core, unintended amplification is a reflection of the human tendency to rally around perceived unfairness. When people see someone being targeted unjustly, whether through slander, exclusion, or outright aggression, it sparks a reaction. Individuals and communities instinctively push back against the aggressor, questioning their motives and lending support to the victim. What might have been a solitary voice in the dark suddenly gains the weight of collective outrage and solidarity. Attempts to diminish someone also inadvertently reveal the underlying fear or insecurity of the aggressor. Why would they expend so much energy on destruction unless they perceived a genuine threat? This realization often shifts the focus, turning scrutiny toward those who sought to silence rather than the one they tried to destroy. The act of suppression becomes a spotlight, illuminating not just the resilience of the victim, but the vulnerabilities of the attacker. History offers countless examples of this paradox in action. Ideas, movements, and individuals that faced intense opposition often emerged stronger and more influential than they were before. Censorship, for instance, has a way of making the censored message more compelling. People are naturally drawn to what they're told they shouldn't see or hear. What was once obscure or overlooked becomes imbued with a sense of importance and urgency, driving more people to seek it out. For the person being targeted, unintended amplification can feel both empowering and overwhelming. It transforms them into a symbol, often elevating them to a platform they didn't necessarily seek. This heightened visibility can be a double-edged sword, bringing support but also increased scrutiny. It requires immense resilience to navigate the complexities of newfound attention while staying true to one's principles. The unintended amplification also underscores a broader truth suppression is fundamentally flawed as a strategy. It operates on the mistaken assumption that power lies in silencing others. But power, real power, comes from the authenticity of one's message and the integrity with which it is delivered. When attempts to destroy are met with unwavering truth and resolve, the aggressor's efforts collapse under their own weight, exposing their desperation and amplifying the very thing they sought to erase. This phenomenon serves as a reminder that adversity, though painful, can carry unexpected gifts. It challenges individuals to rise above, to refine their voice, and to deepen their impact. It also reaffirms that attempts to destroy or silence often backfire, leaving a legacy that speaks louder and longer than any act of suppression could ever hope to achieve. The price of injustice is profound and far-reaching, affecting not only those who are wronged, but also those who perpetrate or enable the wrongdoing. Injustice, by its very nature, disrupts the moral and social fabric, creating ripples that extend beyond the immediate act. It exacts a toll on individuals, relationships, communities, and even entire societies, leaving scars that can take generations to heal. For the victims of injustice, the cost is often immediate and visceral. It manifests as pain, loss, humiliation, and the erosion of trust. To endure injustice is to face a profound sense of betrayal, especially when it comes from those who are supposed to uphold fairness, whether individuals, institutions, or systems. The damage is not just material, it is psychological, often leaving victims questioning their worth, their place in the world, and the reliability of the structures around them. But the price of injustice is not borne solely by its victims. Those who commit or perpetuate injustice pay a price as well, though it may be less obvious at first. To act unjustly requires a compromise of integrity, a bending or breaking of one's moral compass. This creates an internal dissonance that cannot be easily ignored. Over time, the weight of dishonesty, deceit, or cruelty accumulates, eating away at the perpetrator's sense of self. Even if outward consequences are avoided, the inner toll is unavoidable, a slow corrosion of character and a growing inability to experience true peace. There is also a broader social cost to injustice. It fractures communities, breeds resentment, and undermines the foundations of trust that are essential for cooperation and progress. When injustice is allowed to fester, it creates divisions that polarize societies, turning people against one another and eroding the shared values that hold them together. The effects are cumulative, as small acts of injustice compound over time, creating systems of oppression that are far more damaging and entrenched than any single instance. Injustice carries with it the seeds of its own reckoning. Those who wield power unjustly often underestimate the resilience and memory of those they wrong. While it may seem that injustice can go unchecked, history has shown time and again that it eventually demands a price. Whether through the rise of movements that demand accountability or the slow but inevitable collapse of corrupt systems, the balance of fairness seeks to restore itself, often at great cost to those who sought to manipulate it for their own gain. Even for bystanders, the price of injustice is significant. To witness wrongdoing and remain silent is to bear a share of the burden. This complicity creates a moral weight, a nagging reminder of opportunities to act that were ignored or dismissed. Over time, this apathy corrodes the collective conscience, fostering a culture where injustice becomes normalized and harder to combat. The price of injustice also reflects a fundamental truth about human existence. Fairness and equity are not merely social constructs, but deep, intrinsic needs. People yearn for a sense of balance, a belief that efforts and sacrifices are met with corresponding rewards and that wrongs will be acknowledged and righted. When injustice disrupts this equilibrium, it creates a profound sense of dissonance that cannot be ignored indefinitely. Ultimately, the price of injustice is a reminder of the interconnectedness of human life. No one escapes its consequences entirely. It diminishes the victims, erodes the character of perpetrators, polarizes societies, and creates a moral debt that must one day be repaid. The cost may be hidden, delayed, or spread across time and space, but it is always there waiting to be accounted for. Resilience is one of the most powerful responses to adversity, acting as a counterforce that not only withstands pressure but transforms it into strength and growth. Resilience is more than mere survival. It is the ability to adapt, recover, and ultimately thrive in the face of challenges. It's an active process that turns pain into progress, setbacks into opportunities, and chaos into clarity. Resilience begins with a decision, a refusal to be defeated by circumstances. When adversity strikes, the initial reaction might be despair, anger, or confusion. These emotions are natural, even necessary, but resilience emerges when you choose not to stay in that place of suffering. It requires a mindset shift, a deliberate effort to confront difficulty with determination rather than retreating into hopelessness. At its core, resilience is rooted in a belief that life, no matter how difficult, holds the potential for meaning and growth. This belief is what enables people to endure immense hardships and still find the strength to move forward. Resilience doesn't erase pain or hardship. Instead, it integrates those experiences into the broader narrative of one's life, transforming them into sources of wisdom and strength. Resilience is also deeply connected to adaptability. Life is unpredictable, and those who can adjust their strategies, perspectives, and expectations in the face of change are better equipped to overcome adversity. This adaptability doesn't mean abandoning your principles or goals, rather, it means finding new ways to pursue them when obstacles arise. It's the ability to bend without breaking, to absorb the impact of life's challenges while maintaining your core integrity. The act of being resilient often reveals strengths and capacities that might have otherwise remained dormant. Adversity becomes a kind of crucible, testing and refining character. People discover their own courage, resourcefulness, and endurance in ways they never imagined. This process is not easy, it is often painful and exhausting, but it leads to a deeper understanding of what you are capable of and what truly matters. Resilience also serves as an inspiration to others. When people witness someone facing adversity with grace and determination, it creates a ripple effect. It shows that hardship, while inevitable, is not insurmountable. It reminds others that they too can find strength within themselves to navigate their own challenges. Resilience becomes a shared force, fostering collective hope and solidarity. And what makes resilience especially powerful as a counterforce is its ability to disrupt the intentions of those who seek to harm or undermine. When faced with destruction, resilience turns the very tools of attack into opportunities for growth. It denies the aggressor the satisfaction of seeing their target fall. Instead, it transforms adversity into a stage for defiance, showing that no matter how intense the opposition, the human spirit is capable of rising above it. Building resilience is not a one-time act, but an ongoing process. It involves cultivating habits and practices that strengthen your ability to face challenges. This might include fostering relationships with supportive people, maintaining a sense of purpose, and developing strategies for managing stress and uncertainty. Resilience thrives on preparation, both mental and emotional, so that when adversity strikes, you are ready to face it head-on. In the end, resilience is a testament to the profound capacity of the human spirit. It reminds us that while we cannot always control what happens to us, we can control how we respond. Resilience transforms suffering into strength, chaos into clarity, and despair into determination. It is the ultimate counterforce, proving that even in the darkest moments there is a path forward, and that path leads not just to survival, but to growth, meaning, and triumph. The restoration of order is a process that goes beyond simply mending what was broken or undoing the damage caused by chaos. It is an act of rebalancing, of reasserting the principles that sustain stability, justice, and meaning in life. When disorder strikes, whether through conflict, betrayal, or systemic failure, it disrupts the natural equilibrium, leaving individuals and communities reeling. The restoration of order is the deliberate effort to rebuild what was lost and create a foundation that is not only secure but stronger than before. Restoring order begins with the recognition of what went wrong. Chaos often arises because of neglect, corruption, or the willful abandonment of principles that hold systems together. Whether on a personal or societal level, the first step toward restoration is acknowledging the truth, no matter how painful it may be. Without confronting the reality of the situation, any attempt to rebuild will be fragile, doomed to repeat the same mistakes that led to the breakdown. This process also demands accountability. Restoring order requires that those responsible for disorder face the consequences of their actions. This is not about vengeance, but about ensuring that justice is served. Accountability reaffirms the principles of fairness and integrity, demonstrating that actions have consequences and that no one is above the rules that govern a just society. It is a critical step in rebuilding trust and ensuring that chaos does not take root again. At its heart, the restoration of order is about reestablishing trust in systems, in relationships, and in the future. Disorder breeds uncertainty, and uncertainty erodes the confidence people have in the structures around them. To restore order, there must be a concerted effort to repair this trust, often through transparency, consistent actions, and a commitment to the values that were compromised. Trust, once broken, is not easily regained, but its restoration is essential for stability. Restoring order is not merely about returning to the way things were. Often, chaos reveals underlying weaknesses or flaws that must be addressed to prevent future disruptions. The restoration process, then, becomes an opportunity for growth and improvement. It requires a willingness to innovate, to adapt, and to create systems and structures that are more resilient and equitable than before. This is where the true strength of restoration lies, not in clinging to the past, but in building a better future. The restoration of order is also deeply personal. It requires individuals to confront their own role in the disorder, whether as active participants, passive enablers, or bystanders. It asks people to take responsibility for their actions or inactions and to commit to the hard work of change. This is not easy. It requires humility, courage, and perseverance. But personal restoration is the cornerstone of collective restoration. Without it, broader efforts will lack the authenticity and depth needed to succeed. There is a profound sense of hope that accompanies the restoration of order. It is a testament to the resilience of individuals and communities, a reminder that even in the face of profound disruption, there is a way forward. The process may be slow and fraught with challenges, but each step toward restoration reaffirms the strength of human determination and the enduring power of principles like justice, truth, and integrity. Ultimately, the restoration of order is about more than fixing what is broken. It is about creating something better, something more just, stable, and enduring. It is an act of renewal, of bringing light to the darkness and meaning to the chaos. It demonstrates that no matter how great the disruption, there is always a path back to balance, one built on truth, accountability, and an unwavering commitment to the values that hold us together. In the face of adversity, injustice, and chaos, the human spirit possesses an extraordinary capacity to rise, rebuild, and restore. The trials we endure are not mere moments of suffering. They are opportunities to define who we are, to uncover our strength, and to stand unwavering in the truth. Those who sought to destroy you underestimated the resilience within you, the power of integrity, and the unyielding nature of justice. The ultimate message is clear: no act of suppression, no wave of chaos, and no injustice can prevail against a soul anchored in truth and fortified by resilience. The forces that tried to break you will inevitably face the reckoning of their own actions, for what they sought to diminish has only grown stronger in the fire of adversity. Let this be your resolve to face the trials of life with courage, to meet injustice with unwavering integrity, and to use every hardship as a stepping stone toward a greater purpose. The restoration of order, the triumph of truth, and the enduring power of resilience remind us that even in the darkest moments, the light within cannot be extinguished.